Hamu Myoho Renge Kyo Namu Myoho Renge Kyo Namu Myoho Renge Kyo Well, hello. How have you been? I hope you're taking care of your health. Thank you for your practice. Thank you for being here. And all of your support via Patreon, PayPal, liking, subscribing, all of it tremendously helpful. Keeps us going. As you know, I've demonetized this channel just so that the incessant commercials don't get in the way of our concentration. Okay. Let's get back to the MahaPariNirvana Sutra. An immense collection of dialogues Shakyamuni had at the ending of his life, addressing concerns from every level of student monk, which if you don't understand that situation going in, you're bound to get quite confused by the sutra. I'm quite certain that's why it's not discussed a whole lot, but I'm addressing that as best I can now, right? So we're about to enter a section, the final section of this chapter, and I've titled it 3,000 Realms in a Single Thought Moment. 3,000 realms or worlds, a concept not really developed in that language until GE, or not commonly anyway, as often referred to as Tendai, and certainly adopted fully and even developed further by Nichiren. I titled this because we're modern Buddhists, and I wanted to call attention, bring your minds to this discussion as being Shakyamuni's discussion that explores this very thing, right? Not that he hasn't been so far, but as I often say, Shakyamuni's teachings never changed from the word go. They just were presented to the audience at the time, and an audience which he continuously pushed toward what he ended up doing in the last 8 years of his life, the Lotus Sutra, which was taught not from the perspective of those he was teaching to, but from the perspective of his own enlightenment, and therefore leaving a posthumous record of the essentials of the teachings, the pattern, the method for which future practicants like you and I would do well to follow in order to attain Buddhahood immediately. But needless to say, although I'm going to say it, people of his day, almost 3,000 years ago, they weren't of the abstract capacity to really grasp this idea. You know, I was just watching, as I want to do, watch a lot of scientific programming. It's one of the great interests of my life, mathematics and science and so forth. Almost went into a career of research myself. But I found so many parallels, so many questions that science was digging at, particularly chemistry and particle physics, as well as astronomy and cosmology and astrophysics and so on, about the nature of the quantum, the quanta, the irreducible thing, the source, if you will, and Shakyamuni's teachings and the teachings of Buddhism and Nichiren. And I found it endlessly compelling how science seemed to be getting closer and closer to what Buddhism was trying to explain as self-evident. Certainly once we had developed the capacity through our ninth consciousness, our most developed consciousness, to observe this phenomena as occurring moment to moment to moment. Science was digging away at, how does this particle come about? Which is, we know by now that the word particle is kind of a misnomer because it misleads into thinking of the physical universe as a thing in and of itself, which, with enough science, we understand that the word particle is a word we give to our own human measurement, an estimation of what a wave of energy, an amalgam of energy, is a formulation of, a combination of. And what is the amalgam? Is it an amalgam of hydrogen and oxygen, which makes water or peroxide or many other things? Is it how does carbon play a role in all of these different atoms and molecules? And we give them all names, but essentially, once we reduce things to their source, we come closer and closer to something very difficult, a quanta, a measurement of energy. And that's what everything ultimately is and from. Well, we talk about that in Buddhism all the time, don't we? Potential through a process of formalizing, of formation, begets something we experience as a form. But we need to understand that form is just an amalgam, a completed, if you will, a holistic amalgam, again, moving as momentum, as energy in motion, not as a thing, an endpoint. See, that's what a particle and the physical means to us in our samsaric mind, because that gives it stasis, that gives it thingness, that gives it solidity. But this solidity is not real in the sense that it's permanent. It's constantly changing. And so the science program I was watching, neutrinos are becoming a subject of a lot of conversation again. At CERN, they just proposed that they've manufactured in this collider, a quantum field of neutrinos. Well, neutrinos, if you don't know, are again such a minute bundle of energy, particle, that we're unaware, you and I, that hundreds of billions of neutrinos are streaming through us each moment. There we are again, moment to moment to moment to moment. Birth and death, birth and death, birth and death, birth, death, birth, death, birth, death, moment to moment to moment, right? And so hundreds of billions of these things are streaming through us. And of course, science being in our age right now, very materially based, says that we remain unchanged. Well, how can that be? If I took your birthday cake and I shot a pencil lead through it, would you say that your birthday cake is unchanged? I mean, it's not much, but there's a little graphite in there, isn't there now? There's certainly at least a tiny hole. What if I took 100 billion little needles and I shot them through your cake? It might hold its shape pretty well, and you might, on 20 feet away, say, there's my birthday cake. Looks the same. But you know, certainly if you try to cut a piece, it's not the same. So why don't we understand that about our own physical self, body? Because the truth is, not only are hundreds of billions of things streaming through us at this very moment, but the stuff that it's streaming through is also hundreds of billions of little things in motion. Everything's in motion. The neutrinos arguably are moving faster, but nothing is static. Nothing is in stasis. And Shakyamuni's been teaching this since day one. The idea that there is stasis in any form is an imagining of the mind. And that worldview, that imagining view, is what we call samsara. And that imagining view, that samsaric reality, quote unquote, is where we develop our craving and clinging, right? We cling to the past and we crave the future. But in reality, everything is happening in this moment, this moment, this moment, this moment. And this moment, the reason it's moment to moment is because it's never in the same place. It's momentum. So why do I say all this? Because once again, science is tickling my fancy about how we've known this all along as Buddhists, but we have trouble melding this energetic momentum thinking in our samsaric mindset of our experience of life. And as we delve into, which I will now get back into, this sutra, we're going to see evidence of this conversation, this idea, in Shakyamuni's own words. So let's start. The 3,000 realms of existence. The Brahmanic scheme of the 25 states of existence elaborates on and helps clarify these 6 spiritual realms. The threefold realm of sensory desire, form, and formlessness, and the realms of realm. The 25 states of existence are divided as follows: 4 lower destinies, 4 human races, 6 realms in the realm of desire, 7 realms in the realm of form, 4 realms in the realm of formlessness. In the 4 lower destinies, there is hell and suffering, or narakagati. The second is brutality, or animals. The third, hunger and ghosts. And the fourth, demons, competitive egos, ashuragati. In the 4 human races, the humans of the 4 continents, the 4 continents or quarters under realm, surround Mount Sumeru, great central mountain that reaches up into the realm of realm. Mount Sumeru was, of course, the Himalayas, which were to the Aryans of the Vedas and the Brahmanic period, literally in realm. The 4 different races of humans, as understood by ancient India, resided in the 4 continents below that realm. Jambudvipa to the south, named after the jambu tree with its large triangular leaves and symbolizes the Indian subcontinent. Jambudvipa was later used generally for all of humanity. Purva Videha to the east, a semicircular in shape, the continent of conquering spirits, where the people have faces of similar semicircular shape. East Asia, the Pacific Rim. The Apara Lordana to the west, where oxen are used as money, circular in shape, and faces of the people are circular in shape. Persia, the Middle East. Uttarakuru to the north, square in shape, where people have square faces, called the High Country because of the mountains, modern Tibet, Afghanistan, Central Asia. The 6 realms in the realm of desire were the lords with sensory desire, residing above Mount Sumeru. The realm of the 4 divine kings, the arms of realm, the 4 generals of Sakra Devendra, or Indra, who guard realm from the 4 lower destinies. The realm of the 33 lords, we've talked about the Trimsas. Its lord is Sakra Devendra, Indra, wielder of the thunderbolt, who personifies the power and mastery of the self, the will of realm, volition. Lord of the secular world, he resides atop Mount Sumeru with his palace in the city of beautiful views, or Sudarsana. There are 32 lords who report to him on the good and evil done in the world. These 32 lords are the rulers of our high natures as lords in this world. These 32 are divided into an agent of creation, Prajapati, agents of preservation and stability, the 12 Adityas, or sovereign principles, the agents of destruction and change, the 8 Rudras, the wailers and screamers, or screamers, the spheres of their activity, the 8 Vasus. Also in the 6 realms of desire, the Suyama realm. Its lord is Yama, the lord and judge of purgatory and the afterlife, the realm of repentance, atonement. You see how all of this has to do with before and after? Craving and clinging. This is why I titled this The 3,000 Realms, let alone that they're enumerating all the realms, which later we will associate the 10 realms, the lower realms that we experience constantly every day, but they're all tied to the 3,000, yes? And so we're seeing an enumeration here. The Tusita realm, the realm of contentment. The future bodhisattvas and Buddhas dwell in it prior to entry into the womb that leads to this Saha endured world, the realm of rebirth, rejuvenation. This is the cycle of birth and death, birth, death, birth, death, birth, death, birth, death, birth, death, moment to moment to moment of the Tusita realm. Why? Because we're satiating that, or satiating that curiosity, that desire to be. But as soon as we be, we start clinging to what brought us to be, what's around us being, and craving more. And we start identifying, and that's our fall of sorts into samsara. Rather than perceiving with a higher mind, which has yet to develop. It's there, but it's not developed, which is what we do with our practice. Develop that 9th consciousness, which becomes completely aware that everything is in motion, happening now, moment to moment to moment to moment. And therefore, clinging is not only useless, but an impediment. It's occupying your mind rather than paying attention to the mind now as things are occurring now. And it deprives you of the appreciation of this very momentum and how everything is happening all at once, every moment, moment to moment to moment, constantly changing, nothing to cling to or to crave because it isn't yet experienced. Life is experienced, not owned, not possessed. Trying to use words to unglue ourselves from language, words. The experience is life. Everything outside that experience is illusion, delusion, impediment, actually. Yeah? All right, let's continue. Sorry, I lost my place. Oh, agents of preservation, stability, the 12 aditas. Agents of destruction, yeah, the spheres, the Suyama realm. We talked about Yama. The Tusita realm, right? The Sunirmita realm, the realm of pleasant transformations, where the lords create their own pleasures, and where every pleasure is attainable at will. It is the realm where one's own desires are mastered. This realm is more immediate, right? It's immediate gratification, if you will. The Paramita Vasavarthan realm, the abode of Mara, the Lord and Master of the desire of others, using the power of desire to control others, the realm where one avails oneself of the merits of others for one's own pleasure, making others obedient to one's will, the devil, the Lord over lust, sin, and death. Right? Do you remember the name of that devil? Dairaku Tenomao? Yes, this is earthly desires. Nietzsche talks a lot about earthly desires, right? And Mara, and all those demons and devas and so forth. The influences of this realm. Again, this is part of the conversation of the 3,000 realms, right? Constantly influencing or trying to influence our experience of moment to moment, dragging us back to clinging. And the aspect of using power of desire to control others, that's a clinging and a craving, right? I'm going to cling to what I have done and what you have done in order to command you to do as I will in the future, desires that I want to possess, right? Well, we've already discussed possession is not life. Experience is life. But the idea that possession leads to experience is the Mara, is the demonic, the devilish influence that keeps us glued to craving and clinging. A huge impediment to our enlightenment. Follow? It's pretty direct if you take it apart. D, was that the last one? D, A, B, C, D. I think so. Ooh, it really breaks down. Okay, 15 to 21. The 7 realms of form. 7. Odd that number keeps coming up, right? This realm is purified of sensory desire. There is still material form, the 6 senses, facilities, and the 6 sensations, but being pure of sensory desire, one enters in a progressively deeper meditative states known as the 4 basic meditations. So now we're getting closer to the ideas of Tendai and Nichiren, right? Again, already present in Shakyamuni's day, just described and analyzed with different language. The great Brahma realm. The Brahma is the lord of the religious world. In other words, I should probably replace the word religious. I'm going to circle that and ask a question about it. The reason I say that is because religion in this context is really about assiduous practice, right? It's about the things that Nietzsche talks about all the time. Determination, confidence. That's what I talk about. But, Nietzsche talks about steadfastness, right? Stick-to-itiveness. This is what Buddhist conversation is about. Religion, it's about steadfastness, sticking with the program, repetition, right? This is the idea that motivates our practice. But it's not a word meaning allow yourself to be swayed by personality, for instance, right? Follow the law, not the person. Religion today is really a cluster of ideas that are shared among a group without any kind of validation other than the group think, yes? Whereas Buddhism is about actual experience. You don't have to do this. You have to follow your experience of it, and your experience of it, as you develop your ability to see it, understand, experience it, will validate it itself. And if it does not, then either you're not practicing correctly or it isn't valid for you. But, of course, it's valid for everyone. It's just a matter of practice. But you practice for yourself. You don't do this because I tell you to. And you don't become enlightenment because I send it to you in the mail. Only you can enlighten your mind. It's yours. Buddhahood is yours. It's already there. Right? It's not something you have to earn from another. This is your own self-development. Right? This is why Buddhism is such a personal practice. And the only Lord beyond and pure of the realm of sensory desire. Beyond sensory desire. The realm of realm, where there is purity of heart, sincere of, there's that word. Sincerity of resolve and devotion. Determination, would that be a better word than devotion? Determination, confidence. I like confidence. But, I'll be glad when I get all of these language foibles in line. This is probably the last thing I'll ever write or publish, so I want to make sure it's right. The 4 realms of meditation, which have been brought up already, also known as the Brahma realms, the highest realms, if you will. The 4 basic levels of meditation are in the realm of form, pure of the distractions of sensory desire, right? The release of samsara, as we would later describe it in language, yes? In which one sequentially sublimates the senses, or purification of the senses. Each progressive level is an ever more pure state of samadhi, of mental concentration. There are 18 Brahma realms that are distinguished. So, in this writing, we're going to elucidate 18 realms that are evident, like bodhisattva, what is it that they're not realms, stages of bodhisattva practice, right? When we let go or expunge or purify certain realms that normally would be attachment, clinging to physical samsaric realms, when we let go, when we purify ourselves of those, so that we can more and more experience the actual, right? Moment to moment life, momentum of all life, all at once, as we too are moving with, through, around. The first dhyana realms, the realms of Brahma, flowers of Brahma, assistants of Brahma, and the great Brahma. Not very descriptive. Let's keep going, though. The second dhyana realms, a measure of light, a measureless light, and light and sound. So again, we're purifying the senses, remember? It may not make much sense now, but with the knowledge that you and I have, having studied, see, all of this has been discussed in the Lotus, but it's being restated here in an older linguistic, so obviously meant for monks of that stage that haven't yet grasped. Yes? And reminding them in this chapter, the chapter on grief, that the grieving isn't logical. It's part of the letting go of the clinging and craving. And isn't that what the MahaPariNirvana Sutra is all about? I'm leaving, stop lamenting that I'm leaving, and start taking this on for yourself. And so he's feeding them, constantly feeding his students ways to grasp their own enlightenment. Let's continue. The third dhyana realms, a measure of purity, measureless purity, and purity everywhere. You see how this is it's like a parabolic curve. Once you get an inkling, you start seeing it exponentially, and then you can't not see it. The fourth dhyana, without any clouds, birth into blessings. Again, I don't like that blessings word. Into experiential rewards, how shall we say? Producing great fruits. This leads to these rewards, these enlightenments, these aha moments lead to great leaps in the experience of life. Much more fulfilling. The realm beyond thoughts. The next stage of the four dhyana realms, beyond thoughts. The 5 pure abodes of realm. The last stages of the 4 dhyana realms are beyond cares, without heat, the beautiful presence, and the beautiful vision. Again, these are all adjectives around the release of clinging and craving, of samsara, and the new, replaced by the new perception that is the enlightened mind. I've been missing this all along. I've been preoccupied clinging and craving when this is happening. This is so much more, right? The awakening. The ultimate peak, the 4 realms in the realm of formlessness, in other words, fully detached from form, seeing now the origins of form as energy information, being able to live in that reality rather than craving and clinging forms. That's what formlessness means. It doesn't mean suddenly everything's shattered. We're all akimbo. It means the removal of attachment and clinging to form is to perceive the actual experience of life without anchoring it in form, right? To perceive that everything in the universe, the physical universe, is made of energy, and its amalgams is to be free of form. Otherwise, we'd be saying everything in the universe is made of dirt, steel, hydrogen, right? Plastic. But when we see beyond that, we see that even plastics and all the things that we know as form is this transitory state of energy. That's very unsettling at first, later becoming normalized, and eventually becoming a huge release from clinging or craving to plastics. Understanding that everything's in transition all the time, right? So this is formlessness. And so those four realms are the boundlessness of empty space, the boundlessness of consciousness, the boundlessness of nothingness, in other words, no thingness, formlessness restated, and the boundlessness of that which is neither with nor without perception. Right? Everything doesn't exist simply because we perceive it, and at the same time, perceiving it is life itself. Well, if that's not a dissection of the 3,000 realms, there may be others, but it's hard to find a better one. Next chapter, on long life. Interesting how that follows, yeah? All right. So that's the end of this chapter. Next video, we will begin the chapter on long life. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you most for your practice. Stay strong. Stay encouraged. Savor your practice, right? Like I started this video, slow down. Even if you have to take a day to just meditate on each of the 7 characters of the Daimoku, right? 7. Na, right? Na-mu. Yeah, I'm reminded again that the site has been, I've lost the website. I had a lot of reference material on there, and I talked about it in videos, and I'm thinking it might be another project for me to assemble all of those documents in a type of ring binder or book form, just as reference materials. I made a lot of charts and little illustrations I think would be handy, like for things like this. That's going to be a big project. I wish I had an assistant to help me do that kind of stuff, but that's probably not going to happen in my lifetime. Maybe in some future, somebody will take that up. They'll have to have my computer, though, to go through those files, because now they're not on the internet anymore. That site was up since 1995, but the deal I got on the ISP, the what am I trying to say? The domain name and everything was pretty sweet. But now they've been trying to get me to upgrade and change that for years and years now, and they finally got the opportunity and they took it. So now to restart that and rebuild it would take money and time I just don't have. So I'm afraid that site is gone. But you never know what tomorrow might bring. So in the meantime, I really want to finish this sutra and talking to you about it. And at any rate, wham, 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 blah, blah, blah. Thank you for your support. Again, Patreon, PayPal, like and subscribe. All of it is meaningful. Go to the bookstore. A lot of what was on threefoldlotus.com was captured in book form and is in the bookstore. Ebooks, all the ebooks that were available through the website that were not up on the bookstore are now on the bookstore. If there's one missing, let me know right away, and I'll make sure it gets up there. Some of you have written in the past that the same book has two different prices, and that's because if you read carefully on the bookstore, one is a paperback or a hardback or an ebook, and so the pricing is different, right? So all the materials are available there. The study materials that I had on the website, again, that's in limbo right now as I decide what I'm going to do. In the meantime, please take care of your health. Enjoy your practice, and I'll see you in the next one. Next video, that is. Okay? And bye for now.